Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Let me show you how to make the key of B super accessible with these chords that we're going to use in Fortnight by Taylor Swift. It looks like this. And for a fortnight there we were, forever run into you, sometimes ask about the weather. Now you're in my backyard, turned into good neighbors. Your wife waters flowers, I wanna kill her. So the benefits of this is within this one chorus, we are working on our fun bar chords, our power chords, and we are going to learn a really useful minor 7 chord shape that's movable. So let's dive right into it. To start, we have our E chord, which is just good old E. Then we're going to move to our F sharp fun bar. But a quick tip that you may not know is that if you're planning on moving to bar chords, like your typical ones that look like that, instead of playing your E chord like this, you can play your E chord like this, where we have the ring finger on the 2nd fret of the A, pinky on the 2nd fret of the D, and middle finger on the 1st fret of the G. And that is going to set you up so that way you can move to these other chords. But you don't have to do that. Now next is the F sharp fun bar chord. So what that is that it looks like a bar chord, but it's really not, because I'm not barring. So this is what it would sound like if I was barring across the strings. But what I'm doing is I'm lifting up the wrist very slightly, and I'm only putting weight on the very tip of this 1st finger right here. So that way the bottom 2 strings are muted. And all of a sudden, this bar chord is now a whole lot easier because you're not actually barring anymore. So just play this one string at a time for me, like this, and check and see if you can make those 2 strings ring out, or see if you can make them muted. This is a movable shape, which means that if you learn how to play this one fun bar chord, then you can learn how to play your A flat bar chord or your B flat bar chord. All of a sudden those chords are a lot easier just because you know how to do this shape. And if you have trouble getting any of the other strings to ring out that are supposed to be fretted, that's fine. That's totally normal. These chords in general are some of the harder ones that we run into when we're starting out, or even if we've been playing for years and years and we just don't play bar chords because we've been avoiding them. This is a good opportunity for us to practice. So this is the first fun bar chord that we're going to learn. Editing Ryan here. I made a mistake and I went to a C sharp power chord instead of a D sharp power chord. Even though I went to the wrong chord, it's still the same shape. So just practice the C sharp power chord, and we're going to practice going from F sharp to D sharp in a little bit. When going from this F sharp to D sharp, you're going to keep these fingers exactly, like you're going to kind of freeze them, slide over 2 frets, and then down a set of strings. And this is a D sharp power chord. Power chords are incredibly useful and incredibly relevant, especially for all kinds of music, especially like rock and roll, because it's one shape that you move around a lot. And this is actually one of the first chords that a lot of beginner guitar players will learn, especially if they're learning electric guitar. So 1st finger, 4th fret on the A, ring finger, 6th fret on the D, and then pinky 6th fret on the G. And to play this, we're going to be kind of on the pads of our fingers, not on the very tip like this, but on the pad. So that way our 1st finger can nudge a little bit to mute this low E string. And then the bottom of your 1st finger right here is slightly touching the B and high E. So that way we're muting this E string. So 1 string at a time. And now to go back to the F sharp, we're going to freeze our fingers again, and then slide down 2 frets and then up a set of strings. Then we're going to put the middle finger back down. And we're still not letting the B and high E string ring out. Now, let me show you a really nice minor 7 voicing that's super useful. I use this a lot, especially when I'm playing songs in the key of B, like Heat Waves by Glass Animals. So what I'll do is you're going to take the ring finger and you're going to slide up 2 frets. And then your first finger is going to go on the 4th fret of the D, and then you're going to put your pinky down on the 6th fret of the G. And what we're going to do is kind of adjust our ring finger so that way we can nudge it to mute the low E string. And then our first finger is going to be the one that's going to mute the B and high E. So my first finger is not on the very tip, it's on the pad right here, like this. So that way it can mute the B and high E. This is a really great substitute for minor chords that you have to play where the root is on the 5th fret. So you can use this to play like C sharp minor. You can use it to play E flat minor, which is actually what we're doing now. C minor, is a great one to use this with. It's just a really nice voicing. So that is the D sharp, and we're gonna go practice through the chord changes in just a little bit. But I wanted to go over one more, and that is going to be the G sharp 5. So from whether you do the D sharp minor 7 like this, what that means, if you do that, then you just have to go over 2 frets and then up a set of strings. And then you're going to play the power chord, or if you're right here on the D sharp minor 7, then you don't have to shift at all. Your ring finger can stay right there. And then you move the pinky up and then the first finger up, like that. So to play the G sharp power chord, you're going to put your first finger on the 4th fret of the low E, ring finger on the 6th fret of the A, and then your pinky on the 6th fret of the D. And you're not barring it, you're just you're only putting pressure right here and then letting your first finger lightly touch the G, the B, and the high E. So one string at a time. Time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chunk this, and we are going to go from E to our F sharp fun bar chord. And we're going to practice that nice and slow, maybe like this. 1, 2, about that fast. And we're just going to do that over and over again. Go back and forth between the two. Here we go. 1 and 2. 3, and to the F sharp fun bar right here. 1, and let's make sure that the B and high E strings are muted. Let's go back to the E right here. 1 and 2 and 3, and to the F sharp fun bar chord right here. So now we're going to practice going from this F sharp bar chord to this D sharp minor. You can choose either of these. We're going to be using more power chords towards the end of the riff right over here. So if you wanted to work on your power chords, definitely recommend that you just pick this one. If you feel pretty comfortable with your power chords and you want to add a new chord to your tool belt, I recommend that you grab this minor 7 voicing. So we're just going to do these 2 bars. Again, you don't have to do both of these, just pick one and roll with it. But we're going to do the same tempo. About that fast. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and to D sharp and 1 and 2 and 3. We're going to go back to F sharp. 4 now. 1 and 2 and 3 and to D sharp right here. 1 and 2 and 3 and back to F sharp, one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 to D sharp, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now we're going to move to the G sharp. So same thing, we're going to pick whichever D sharp minor chord you want to do, and then we're going to practice moving from that to G sharp power chord. So same speed and 2, about that fast. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and to G sharp right here. Make sure all those strings are dead. Be as relaxed as possible. Back to D sharp. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to G sharp, and 1 and 2 and 3 and one more time right here. 1 and 2 and 3 and to G sharp right here. 1 and 2 and 3, and now let's go to E right here. So once we do that, then we are back at the top. So we have E, we've got the F sharp fun bar, which we already practiced. Now we're going to go to a new power chord, which is the B power chord. So that's going to be first finger, second fret on the A. We're on the pad of our finger, so that way we can mute this low E string. Then ring finger, fourth fret on the D, and then pinky, fourth fret on the G. And then again, we're not barring, we're just lightly draping that first finger across so we can mute the B and the high E string. So what's really great about using this power chord is we're coming straight from the F sharp fun bar chord. So we already are in our power chord shape. Now we just need to take this shape, move it down a set of strings, and then lift off the middle finger while muting the other strings. So we're going to practice going from the F sharp fun bar chord to the B power chord, and we're not going to worry about that that passing chord on the and of 4 right there. So same speed, 1 and 2, about that fast. Starting with F sharp, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and to the B power chord right here. Make sure all those strings are muted. You're nice and relaxed. If you need to take a break, that's fine. The key of B is not the friendliest key on guitar, but it's good for us to be able to learn how to play it because there's lots of songs that are written in the key of B, and you never know when you might not have your capo around. Or maybe you're playing, this actually happened to me the other day, this person's guitar was tuned a half step low, and he was playing C chords, but I didn't have time to tune my guitar, so I played in B. One more time, F sharp to B. To B. And that's optional. You can do the F sharp power chord is the exact same as the fun bar chord. It's just you're not lifting up, you're not putting down the middle finger. You're lifting it up, and all those strings are muted. And then from there, you would just slide up 2 frets to the G sharp power chord. Or if you want to skip that, just go from B to the G sharp. So let's practice the B to G sharp motion without that passing chord. Same speed. Here we go. switch. Make sure all those strings are muted. We'll do this just one more time, and then we'll end the video. Back to B. This is a really good movement to practice and work on. G sharp right here. And let's just go ahead and end it on the B so we can end it on the tonic right here. Nice. All right, everybody. So these were some really cool chords to be able to play in the key of B. And so let's work on it in the practice video.